Today we're looking at the top 10 sci-fi films that never make it into the top 10 sci-fi films, so no need to skip to number 1 to see if we pick Star Wars or Blade Runner. We're hoping we've covered some of the more personal favourites that don't receive enough public love, and if we haven't, feel free to tell us in the comments below. Don't forget to like us and subscribe, because an electronic thumbs up could fill the emotional chasm left by not receiving enough hugs as children. eXistenZ was made 25 years ago, but is still ahead of its time, just. It centres around immersive gaming, and as the technology grows ever more immersive and realistic, questions what happens when we struggle to understand where the borders of reality and the game collide. Although it does it in a far sexier way than that sentence suggests, and uses an array of megaguns to keep the baddies / real people at bay. Once you get over the method of entering the game, which resembles making love to a naked bagpipe, you're swept along on a constantly twisting adventure that dips in and out of reality at such a dizzying pace that the question, "Are we still in the game?" became its catchphrase. The truth is, I don't know, and even if I did, I wouldn't spoil it for you.
Now I'm warning you. It's going to be a wild ride. But don't panic. No matter what happens, okay? Alright, I'll see you back here in no time at all.
Another film which leaves you wondering what just happened for the last 2 hours is Solaris. Although the answer is irrelevant, as you'll be so relaxed from the epic spacescapes and mesmeric score that you won't care. Are the crew dreaming? Are they ghosts? Are they figments of a loved one's memory brought back to life? Did they ever exist? Whatever the truth may be, let the whole experience wash over you and try to work it all out later. Or just ignore the storyline completely and embrace true relaxation. District 9 is another film in a long line of artistic endeavours that tries to point out to humans that being different isn't the same as being evil. And maybe being nice to each other, no matter what we look like or where we come from, would make life easier and more pleasant for everyone. Unfortunately, the rich and powerful have been keeping us divided whilst filling their own pockets for millennia. So for every District 9 there are 1,000 newspapers, blogs and general morons shouting that we should keep hating each other instead. And leave those nice rulers to keep exploiting us, whilst contributing nothing to the public pot. Although if you don't want to listen to the subtle message, District 9 also has some cool aliens throwing people through windows. Combining Blair Witch with Norwegian folklore sounds like trying to combine jazz with a digestive biscuit. But if a couple of stuttering trumpets brings that dry slab of disappointment to life, then I'll give it a go. Skepticism and doubt run through the core of all science fiction, and provides infinite smugness to the audience when the character that believes those footprints in the forest were just a man moving a wardrobe is eaten by a yeti. Trollhunter takes us on that merry ride as the lunatic becomes the only one who can save them, and the non-believers try harder than anybody to convince those around them that they need to run. The fact it's in Norwegian adds a rhythm and beat to the unfolding adventure that jazz could only ever dream of achieving. I've never met anyone who, when asked if they've seen Tremors, doesn't make a funny little noise of confirmation and delight rolled into one. And yet nobody went to see it with anyone, nobody talked about it when it came out, everybody just stumbled upon it, usually on the telly when they thought there was nothing else to watch. The heroes don't know what they're doing, and readily accept that as part of their charm. The scientist does know what she's doing, but has no idea what's doing things to them. And all the side characters dance a line between idiocy and genius to perfection. Even the monsters turn out to be buffoons, once our heroes have worked out what makes them tick. If I had to stick one word on the poster for Tremors, it would be charming. But I'd like to think I'd get more than one word, because I don't half like to waffle. Another film that becomes increasingly relevant the further we stride through time, Gattaca. This stylistic meander takes Aldous Huxley's Brave New World and wraps it all up neatly in a ribbon of DNA. Defined by our reading upon birth, our future potential is capped depending on the balance of A's, T's, G's and C's that run through our blood. But Ethan Hawke sets out to prove humanity is more than an alphabet. Unable to question society using his latest blog post, he uses the biological debris of Jude Law, a willing donator, to live amongst the elite. Inevitable with these things, his cover comes under risk of being blown. But then a film where a guy just goes back and forth to the desk job and marries someone in an equal DNA percentile would not be anywhere near the top 10 sci-fi films that never make it to the top 10 sci-fi films. Perhaps the greatest achievement of Her is its sedate and subtle vision of the future. Everything is familiar enough for us to accept the world it suggests, but different enough for us to want one now. Even the fashion is simply regurgitated from the past with a delicate twist, rather than tinfoil slacks and an aerial for a hat. As AI approaches the line where we have to think about letting it vote, Her wonders what happens when a human falls in love with an ethereal voice that's been programmed to please you. The truth is, with each new phone and its jazzy personal assistant, we may already be living in the future that Her imagined, only without the cool holographic game that he spent his evenings wandering around in.
Optimistic, you're being very stubborn right now. Okay, stop walking this direction, it's the other way. Thank you. Okay, the tunnel on the left is the only one we haven't tried.
No, I think that's the one you sent me down where I fell in the pit.
Okay, I don't think so.
Oh, yeah, this is different. Hello?
Terry Gilliam's vision of the future is consistent, if not inviting. He obviously hadn't foreseen LED lights, as the darkness and stark nature of every building he litters his future cities with could really do with a few strips of illumination to remind everyone what happiness is. Irrelevant of the sombre ambience, I've still enjoyed everything I've seen of his, and 12 Monkeys is a particular favourite. Maybe it's because so much of it happens in the present rather than in the cold, vast industrial landscapes his mind is so allured by. Anyway, it's a classic stop the end of the world for a time-travelling saviour tale. And it has Brad Pitt playing a lunatic, the tics and exuberant outbursts becoming a staple of his acting repertoire forevermore. Dark City taps the audience on the shoulder and whispers it has a secret to share. Then spends the next 2 hours slowly revealing it to both the main character and us. Something is wrong with the world. Mysterious forces are controlling us. People in cool outfits dance in the shadows, disappearing when you try to focus on them for too long. To investigate is surely to die, or free the entire population and snag a love interest along the way. Moody, thrilling, and endlessly satisfying. If you like your science fiction at the sinister end of darkness, Dark City awaits. The simplistic beauty of Moon runs through every pore of its being, and yet it manages to question the very essence of humanity with effortless grace. With a cast of about 10 people, Sam Rockwell takes up 95% of the screen time, and yet you never get tired of his growing emotional turmoil as his perceived reality falls apart. If you haven't seen it, then the more I reveal, the less intrigue and enjoyment you'll take from it. All I can say is that if you don't fall a little bit in love with this movie, then you may have to question whether or not you even like science fiction. There it is, the top 10 sci-fi films that never make the top 10 sci-fi films. If you haven't already turned off, or maybe you skipped the start and are trying to work out where Star Wars is, then do all the usual things people ask you to do on this internet thing. Like, subscribe, leave a comment, stick it on your social media. Who knows, you might get a couple more bots following you. But make sure you come back to All Things Movies.